host Dave, and today I'm joined by Gina and her son Will, just in northern Michigan in the USA, just a little bit south of us. And we crossed paths through a friend of mine on TikTok named Mama Jen. She said, "We've got to have these guys on. They got a powerful story, and hopefully we'll take this incident and inspire some people. Maybe someone out there's watching that might get some help. We'll go from there. So, welcome to my show, you guys."
Thanks for having us, Dave.
So, take me back 9 years to where this journey you're on right now started with your son.
Well, yeah, it started way before the 9 years, 13 years before that when he was an adolescent and he was self-medicate. He first began to self-medicate. And then, so 13 years of in and out of jail, in prison a couple times, just self-medicating, trying to get mental health help, which I feel like I want to talk about that because it's so important when people are incarcerated and they're not getting help, they're not getting mental health care, and then they come out, there's really nothing for them. It's not rehabilitation, and so to try to like I think even prison is traumatizing and then more self-medication when you get out. And that's where it started, So 9 years ago, he had just got out of a program called TRV. When you get out of prison, you're on parole. And then you break your parole, then you have to go to this TRV program. And he'd only been out one day, 2 days, I'm sorry. And he had a friend come get him. And that evening this guy, I mean, Will was never a needle user, but this guy was, and Will allowed him to shoot him up. And so then Sunday morning came, I tried to call Will's phone, and no answer, which is not like Will. He's usually pretty good about answering. And then it was around 1 o'clock. I called back, and a little boy answered his phone. I just said, go get your mom. And she got on the phone. She just said, "Oh yeah, Will's sleeping in." It didn't feel right to me, but I mean, what do you do? I'm an hour and a half away.
Name of Victor.
What?
I know what I'm talking about. The name of Victor.
Yeah, the little boy. He's remembering.
Yeah.
And so Sunday evening, about June 5th, 2016, about 5 o'clock, I got the call from the guy who had shot him up. And he said he's on the way to the hospital. They found him non-responsive. And I mean, at that point, I had been through so much with Will in that 13 years of addiction and in trouble. And I go numb right away. I just get out of my head and I detach and I just go into go mode. And I flew up to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, War Memorial Hospital there, and he was just hooked up to all these tubes and on a vent, and it was pretty crazy. I don't even know what I thought, or I don't know. I'm so used to shoving my emotions down, stuffing them, not dealing with them. I have two other kids, and so I just always felt like I have to be on, I have to be mom. I have to be there, the rock for everybody. Their dad's not really in their life. So it's just been me. And, I don't know. I just kind of go numb and perform. And so I didn't really feel emotional, just, I guess, worried. But like I said, not in touch with my feelings at all. It's been a trek just the past 7 years to finally process. So just get up there and go, get in go mode. And he was there for Sunday night that happened. Wednesday night he came off the vent, and Thursday he was talking in a whisper. He was tracking with his eyes, also moving his body parts, his legs, his arms. Seemed to be okay, just a little dazed and confused, which I would imagine is normal. And I stayed till Saturday. And then I left and came back to where I live, about hour and a half or so south of there. And he got transferred the next day on a Sunday. And he came to the hospital, the local hospital where I live, and he seemed to be okay. Still, moving and eating some soft food. And then the next day I came in, it was just like, I don't know what happened. His eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he just was, I guess the extent of the brain injury did not set in. Oh, sorry about that, Dave.
That's okay. We're good.
We are good, but okay, someone's trying to call me. And they said the extent of the brain injury had not set in yet, and it set in, and not with a vengeance. The neurologist, and I said to the neurologist, well, what would you do if this was your son? And he said, I'd let the body determine what it wants. Let his, I guess, just let him determine what that looks like, and I couldn't do that. He said your other choice is to put him on a feeding tube and put him in a nursing home. And so I said I would do that. And that's what we did for 4 months. He laid in a like semi-vegetative state. I don't know why they would say semi-vegetated, but he could open his eyes, but he couldn't track with his eyes at all.
Hmm.
He didn't look left. He didn't look right. He didn't make any communication. He didn't squeeze your hand. He didn't blink twice to say yes. He was just not there. And that was just 4 months of me going in and out of the nursing home and just seeing this. And I had said, and I was making pretty much all the decisions by myself at that time. And I said, if in 4 months he has not made any improvement, I'm going to stop the feeding tube and we'll put him in hospice, and we'll just, whatever happens, nature will take its course. I know that sounds harsh, but it's also harsh to watch your child in a vegetative state day after day after day with no improvement in a nursing home. I would tell the doctor, it felt like my soul was being tortured.
Wow.
It's your kid, it's just, when they say it's like your heart walking around outside your body as a parent, that's what it felt like. And it was torturous to see him like that every day. So in October of 2016, I put him in hospice. You okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little emotional, Dave.
That's okay. I get it.
So October came, and that's exactly what I did. I put him in a hospice facility, and I went in the second day. It was kind of interesting because it was like he would like make these motions with his head, just like bear down like this, and it was just so strange. It was like the brain was doing something. I couldn't understand it. It looked pretty painful. But the second day I came in, I just said, "Hey, Willis, Mom, can you hear me?" And he just whispered, "Yeah," and started sucking water off of a sponge. And 2 days later, I said, "Are you hungry?" And he said, "Yeah." I got him some mashed potatoes from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he ate those right down. And that was the beginning of Will's brain coming back. I mean, it was miraculous to think of where he was that whole year, and to where he is now, just fully conversational. Although he is really quiet when he gets on screen, but yeah, it was just quite the journey, let me tell you. I don't even know how I would, some of your questions, like how did I process it, or I don't know if I did process it for many, many years. Probably not until just a few years ago did I really start processing this whole thing. Like I said, I feel like I just went numb. You just can go into parent mode, and I'm the guardian, and I have 2 other children that I'm taking care of, and 2 bonus children that I'm helping out with. So yeah, I don't know. I think just recently I came into these, like these epiphanies, like, wow, I think I was angry with Will for a little while, because it had been a long road before the overdose. But also, in saying that, mental health is mental health, and I understand, some things can't be helped. And so, oh, yeah, I'm looking at some of your questions, Dave.
No, it's okay. When did you start coming on doing the TikTok lives? Like what made you go that route?
Um, well, I just I had in 2017 I got a diagnosis for a health condition that isn't very pleasant, and I had been dealing with that since 2017. It had gotten progressively worse, and then in like 2018, 19, 2021, I wasn't walking very much, and I really just had to focus on me. Will just kind of had to. I would still come see him every week, but and talk to him every day, but I couldn't really put a lot of effort. But I've been feeling better. I've been doing a lot of natural things and starting to feel better, and so now I'm really focused on Will and just making up for lost time of, doing things for him and getting his story out there. And I think too, he's every year his brain has gotten more receptive, more intuitive, even for him.
Hmm.
Today he said something when I came in that was just so profound, and I was just telling him I was so proud of him. Um, there's a nurse that works here, and hasn't been talking to her. Like she'll say hi and he won't talk to her. And I came in today and he said, he said, I don't know why I don't talk to her. He said, she never did anything mean to me. And he said, I think sometimes I fabricate stories in my head that people are against me. And I mean, that's what I mean about his brain. Every year it's just more, I just feel like it's rerouting pathways all the time, and he's becoming more and more cognitive every year. Um, So a lot of depression, in the past like several months, I was just like, I have to do something. I got to connect him to a world outside of here. Let's do a TikTok. I'll just start sharing his videos on there from his accident. We'll just see if people are interested. And then I got, my first video was like 346,000 views. I'm like, all right, well, people are interested. And just like to help other people, it's always been my mission, to help people with mental health, help myself with mental health. I've mentored a lot of people. I worked respite in two different foster care homes where I live. They are with troubled teens, kids that are on probation, and I just have a heart for them because that's my son, and I felt like I could help them. Um, so yeah, I think just in wanting to help Will connect with the world, tell our story, help other people, maybe help other kids that are, even help other parents, because as a parent, when your child starts to go through these things, when they start to self-medicate, they start to get in trouble with the law, they start to have all these mental health issues. You don't know, especially like for me, Gen X, we didn't deal with we didn't deal with our emotions. We were taught children should be seen and not heard, and
Hmm.
uh, you know, quit your crying, I'll give you something to cry about. We just weren't taught to be in connection with those. So I think just in the past several years, as mental health um, has become more prevalent, people are trying to understand it more. There's a lot of help out there for people now. So I think just wanting to help Will with his mental health, with his depression, try to connect, try to tell his story, give us something to do together. And it's actually like been quite a process because every time I post a video, I have to relive that story.
Hmm.
And it's very triggering to come up with a video and see those old videos because like I said, I just separated from my emotions then. Just I had to be on. And so now that I'm, my other children are out of the house and I can, and my health is stable, I can focus on Will. And that's exactly what I've been doing is just focusing on getting him connected and working on my mental health, working on his mental health. And like I said, I think that it's been therapeutic to do the TikToks. It's really been helpful.
It's amazing. A lot of people trash TikTok and online to say it's all garbage, but I've met so many amazing people on there, and just I was a guest on a nurse's podcast in the States, and this is before I started my podcast like 4 or 5 months ago. And she said, I only get 8 viewers a week, 8 to 10 viewers a week, and like your story's been on Fox News and CNN and stuff. She's like, do you really care? I'm like, if one person is watching this episode and is me at rock bottom and decides to go get help, it's worth it. That's why, like, when I look at the numbers on TikTok, I mean, I'll post a video dancing with something silly with my kid. My daughter's 10. It gets like thousands of views, and then I'll post something serious, and it'll get 20 views. But out of those 20 people, if that's one person that's like their mind is messed up like me or going through something like Will here, and they go get help, it's all worth it. Like,
Agreed, agreed. I know when I was going through like the heavy stuff with Will, I could just find one person that could get me. When you find somebody that can understand where you're at, even a little bit, it's worth its weight in gold, isn't it? It's just to connect and just be like, and not feel alone. I feel like that's another thing of the TikTok is eventually I want to evolve my TikTok a little bit because Will isn't capable of running the TikTok. And I think, like I said, in the long run, the TikTok is really about helping other people. I definitely would want to reach out to, young people like Will who are, a lot of young people have contacted me that have drug addiction and, we've been able to have good conversations and, parents too, that are dealing with this. You don't know what to do. There's no handbook that teaches you exactly how to deal with all these things with your kids. So I'm glad I'm glad for the platform of TikTok. I think it will help a lot of people.
well, it's funny how you watch some people on TikTok and they look like they got their stuff together, they got the nice makeup, they're playing, they got the amazing sound. But every Sunday, I do a mental health open mic where people come out and just play guitar and sing or just talk. I had a guy on last week that's actually just sober 46 days from addiction, and people just flooded their arms around him, and like we're getting him a guitar, and like, so I mean, there's a lot of good out there. You just got to search for it. I had a guest on with me. He was a celebrity chef for like a lot of Canadian hockey players and celebrities, and like Jim Carrey. But he
Oh,
was an
wow.
addict for 27 years, and nobody even knew because he hid it so well, right? No one had any idea what was going on. He just looked like this, celebrity chef that had it all together. So it doesn't matter if you got 10 million followers or if you got three, you can be like anyone can be going through anything. And that's why I love doing these and telling these stories. And um, if there's a mom or dad out there watching this that has a son or daughter that they might think be addicted to something, what's your biggest message to them?
I mean, as a parent, I just say do everything you can to help, but not enable. And that's hard. That is very, very, very hard because so many other things are involved in that. Your own guilt for certain things in life with your child, or, every situation is so different. But I feel like enabling is one place I really struggled with in the beginning of all of this. But I also want to help. You laughing? I also wanted to help my son, so I just made sure that he had available um, good rehabs, counseling. I always offered up those things, but I mean, there's only so much you can do as a parent. I mean, these are adult kids; they make their own decisions, and you just have to stand by. You really don't have a lot to say, but just to continually love them. But love also means boundaries.
No, yeah, I agree there 100%. My daughter turns 11 in 2 weeks, and then it's getting to she goes to high school, well, middle high school next year. And that's where I'm in a little town of 3,000 people, so the kids get bored pretty quick, and that's when some of the problems start. We got a
Yes,
skate park and a swimming pool here. There's not a lot for teenagers to do, and they just start. That's when the trouble starts because
right.
drugs
Uh,
are so easily accessible, right? It terrifies me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But don't you feel like people use drugs for a reason? So if we are attentive to our young children's their mental health and we stay in a good relationship with them and I don't know. I do think that helps. I really, really do. I think it helps to have a good relationship with your kids. Um, build that through their lifetime. I know Will has a sister, my daughter, who's 26 now, but when she was 14, she read a book about an eating disorder, and she developed an eating disorder for 4 years, and that was very hard. But every therapist I went to said, I will tell you this, what you have going for you with your daughter is your daughter loves you, and she says she has such a great relationship with you. That is going to save that is going to save her. And I was like, really? And they're like, oh, the children the people we see come through with eating disorders, they don't have a great relationship with their kids. And that is a big, hard, for these kids to recover from this. And they're like, this is what your daughter has going for you. So I definitely believe, like, building that relationship from the time your kids are young. And I guess I feel, especially fathers, I mean, it's not just mothers, like kids need their fathers, and I think that we have to make sure men know how important and valuable they are in their kids' lives.
For me, that hit me hard because yesterday was Father's Day. Melissa will be loading up next weekend, but my daughter said, "What do you want for Father's Day?" And all I said was time, because time is precious. My kid and my girlfriend picked me up a T-bone steak, and that was like they give me $1 million, and then they cooked it together, and we had a meal, and it was, I go to a lot of. My daughter used to do karate, and you go and you'd watch. You look over, and every parent is like this the whole time. And you look at the kids looking at their parents and seeing that they weren't even looking, and you could see their heart just break.
Yeah.
So, it's putting down that phone, taking every moment and cherishing it before it's
I used to
gone.
drop everything. Oh, sorry, Dave.
No, no, that's okay. And you mentioned like with this episode, just being open with your kids. If you're out there watching this and you've got a child any age, sit down and watch this together, and who knows who it could inspire or help. Just to, his journey. He was kept alive for a reason out of that hospice. Um, you never know whose life can be changed, how many lives can be saved if the right people see his story and your story being so strong, being right by his side there that time is inspiring to me.
Yeah. Well, thanks. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I know, like I said, I just kind of numbed out and in my head, and just I think I just pushed those emotions down, but just had to be here for him. I love this kid, and I feel like, I mean, you feel responsible as a parent. You feel like, what could I have done different? I mean, and I know things I could have done different. And Will knows I know that, right? Yeah. But we know he's making a difference. His brother told him on the phone. What did Jake tell you?
That inspired him.
That he inspires him to do good.
Mm.
So we know he has a purpose, that's for sure. And I will say, to parents, that relationship is important. Dave, you're right. Put the phone down. Drop everything. When my kids come in, even now as adults, when they come in my house, I'm not on my phone. I want to be a part of their life. I want to hear about their day. My daughter's just recently moved home in January. She'd been living out for a year, and she just well, she's great. She's a Cena, and she loves to take care of people. But when she comes home, I want to hear. Even at 26 years old, I want to talk to her. I mean, time is short. Time is precious. She won't always have me. Maybe I won't always have her. So I feel like that's important, and I think that one thing that I really want to put out is and say again is how important it is for a man, for a father to be a part of their child's life, to connect, and for us to like build men up and help them be the best father they can be as a partner. That's with my husband now. That's all my goal is, to make sure he has a good relationship with the kids, to remind him, hey, check in with them. Like I said, in our generation was so different, Gen X, and how we were raised in relationships with our own parents just were different. And I always told my kids, you can come to me with anything and
Mhm.
tell me anything. And trust me, they tell me things I don't want to know, Dave. But I know them, and it's because I just feel like that's important. That's what saved my daughter, is that relationship for sure. And Will and I have a good relationship. We communicate well. I middle son, same thing. Uh, so yeah, it's very important, and I think for my kids, the absence of a father has really dampened a lot of things for them. But they are working through it, all of them.
I noticed in one of your videos I was watching, he was being custom fitted for a wheelchair. I know we did some funding for that. How did that all start? How's that going? What's the
It's going really, really well. We had a meeting with the wheelchair guy last Wednesday. We're not going to need the molded one, so it'll be a little bit less money. So I lowered the GoFundMe. We're just like a couple thousand shy of our goal. Would like to be able to get there. They're coming out today with a demo in an hour, and they are going to put Will in it and see, if he can run the joystick. He only has one good hand, and it's not great. It's his right hand, and you can see, but it's pretty atrophied. But he was excited to hear he could run that chair. We're going to get him out in the parking lot. He's a he's an adventurous one. This one, I told him, don't think they're going to cut you loose out of this place and let you just take off for mom's house. I know his mind, and yeah, he's like I said, he's adventurous, right? But yeah, we're excited about that. So yeah, that went really well, and I'll tell you, wow, another thing great about the TikTok platform. I met strangers. I met mothers who have children who have sons and daughters that they've lost to addiction. I've met plenty of them online, and my heart just breaks for them. People will say, "Just be glad you have your son." I am glad I have my son. It's a double-edged sword because sometimes he's not glad to be here, and
Mhm.
then that can make me feel like, did I make the right decision? Should I just? And then I'll talk to him, and he'll say, "No, you made the right decision, Mom. I'm glad I'm alive, so that I can still breathe fresh air." So, then I think, okay, I made the right decision. Um, but it's a trip. But yeah, so meeting perfect strangers, meeting women my age that have sons with addiction now, and they're struggling, and just connecting with them, like, yeah, TikTok is a great platform. I mean, any of it, Instagram, Facebook, anything can be used for bad or for good, right?
Mhm.
It's what you're looking for in life, right? If you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it, right? If you're looking for the good, you're going to find it. So I think TikTok is a great platform. It's helped us. Perfect strangers have donated hundreds of dollars. I mean, I can't even tell you how grateful I am for that platform. I mean, it's really going to change Will's life a lot.
Well, I've had about, I don't know, 35 or 40 guests on here, and 10 of them come from TikTok. Um, my my musical guests that I have on, see, if I can't sleep late at night, I'm on live scrolling looking for musicians and like people that, because music and boxing saved my life, and
Okay.
that's why I've got this Reaper Reaper tattoo. I don't know if Will wants to see that. I noticed a makeover on him. So this is the Grim
I'm
Reaper
going to
hand in
bring,
my boxing gloves.
you see it, Will? Can you see it? I'm going to bring the camera closer, Dave,
Okay.
to him. You see his tattoo? Yeah. No.
So yeah, it's a Grim Reaper
There we
hand
go.
in
Oh,
my
wait, show us
boxing
again.
gloves. Okay,
I
here we
got
go.
you magnified. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
that's a good one. Will loves his tattoos.
Yeah, I noticed the make on him there, but everyone's got a story, and when I started this podcast, like my story's been out there, so I know you said you've watched some, but just people from. I had a guy that's a world champion power lifter who's defeated cancer 3 times and gone on to win 3 world championships. So I just love it. Anything is possible. And then like you don't know if one person could be watching this that could be going through shit and then go to get help, then it's all worth it. And
Right. I just say to those people, there is so much help out there right now. There's so much about mental health, like even just online. I even get help from online mental health things, like reading things, and find one person you trust. Find a person that you really, really trust. If you feel like you are alone, depressed, you feel like self-medicating, there's a lot of avenues right now for mental health. No reason to suffer alone. Not now. Not with TikTok and Instagram. I mean, like people like you are telling their story. People like Will, like you said, everybody has a story, and there's a lot of really successful stories out there.
have you ever thought about writing a book about this whole experience?
I have thought about it. I have. I Yeah, I've thought about like a compilation of Will's letters from prison. I think
Mhm.
about that every now and then, like a book of those, because I'd like people to see mental health for really what it is. And I used to say this to Will's parole officer. I have said to him, my kid does not belong in prison. He belongs in a mental health prison where he's made to get cognitive behavioral therapy, and he's treated for addiction, and he maybe exercises, and he learns that he can feel better. I just think there's a lot of people that are incarcerated that really just have mental health issues, and they could. I just feel we could do so much more for kids that are get incarcerated. And so when I say these about the letters from prison, night and day difference from Will out of prison to Will in prison, like so much clarity. He needed structure. There are just so many things. And when I read his letters, it's just, wow, it's just poetic. It blow your mind to hear his mind when he has this structure. And then when he comes out, it's just like saying things to me like, I'm not meant for this world, Mom. This world is too much for me. It's overwhelming out here. You go into prison, and I hope you don't mind that I'm talking about this.
No, not at all. Anything you like.
Okay. Because this is really something I want to expound on. They go into prison, and it is just like fighting for their life every day. Not their life like that, worried about somebody taking his life, but just like trying to stay out of trouble, getting your things done that you're supposed to get done. And then when you get out, you are expected to go work, 40 to 60 hours a week, and go to your substance abuse class and meet with your parole officer every week. And these kids, these people that come out of prison, they're not rehabilitated. They didn't get cognitive behavioral therapy. They didn't get, they didn't get the healthy minded thing that they needed. And so it's just the same person now out trying to do all these things, and they're overwhelmed with their mental health, and then try to take medication. And I think that's where another thing about self-medicating is, medication and the side effects. And for some people it's great and it's a miraculous thing. And I think that's great. Everybody's different. For Will, every time he tried to take medication, he'd get these horrible side effects. And then that would make him not want to take medication, and that would make him feel hopeless, like nothing can help him. And then he would self-medicate, and it's just like it was just a spiral all the time. But yeah, I have thought about writing the book, and that's what I think about, just to show people really what mental health looks like. That a person that has not, got help for their mental health. It's just it's pretty amazing when you live with somebody and you raise somebody that has these problems. The world looks at everybody, like, well, this person's a loser, or they're a drug addict, or there's a deeper thing there. I guess I want to get the stereotype out of mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And help people understand that, there's people that are born with no arm or no leg or a cleft palate. Well, there's people that are born with brain, things as well, ADHD, ADD. And these kids, they get into school and they just self-medicate because it's the brain. And so we have to, like, I think we should need to recognize that when our kids are young, that, mental health is a thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I think it should be more normalized. And I think it is. It's coming to that. Don't you feel that way?
I do. It's getting there. I find as long as you ignore the trolls, because there's this woman that June is Men's Mental Health Month, and she had these noisemakers going and dancing around just mocking it, and she got destroyed online. Like she had to take down everything. So I don't
Yes.
know. I get a lot of trolls. I used to, now I just laugh at them and just keep going. And I'm almost at the age where I just don't care anymore. Like I care what my family thinks of me. I care what my daughter thinks of me. But
Right.
there's going to be people that they're going to hate no matter what, just because they're so miserable with their own lives. They've got to try and bring other people down. And
Right. They're just projecting.
yeah,
Exactly. That's what I tell myself too. I've had some really hateful comments. And I don't take it personal. I know that people are hurting in this life. I know that people are abused. I know that people have had terrible trauma in their childhood. And that just, I just always say, out of the mouth speaks the heart, and that heart is hurt. And that there goes the old saying, hurt people try and hurt people. But if you got, I'm in a place now where I can understand that and step back and not take it personal. Now 30 years ago I probably couldn't have done that. I probably would have been crying about it. But you go through things in life and you just evolve, you learn, and that's where I've come to, that I don't have to take it personal. It's not about me. This is something about them. And that is something that I always tell myself. If I am angry at somebody or something somebody does bothers me, I say, what is it about me that bothers me about this situation? It's never about anybody else. It's just my own trigger. And so for them, what is it about them that bothers them about seeing Will in a brief? I posted a TikTok. We were changing his T-shirt, and he wears an adult brief. He understands what TikTok's about. He knows what we talk about the videos before I post them. He knows millions of people see these videos. But people were really upset about that. And I just said, I'm here to tell the whole story, the real story.
Mhm.
And this isn't fun. This is hard. A lot of his friends don't come see him because it's hard. It's hard for them to see him like this. Well, guess what? I'm his mom. It's hard for me to see him like this too. It's hard for me to see him like this every day. And talk on the phone with him every day and know that he's laying in this bed, he's miserable and he's alone and he's sad and he's bored and depressed. And it's tough, but this is reality. And the same for the TikTok people that don't like to see reality. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to show reality. And this is no fun trip at all. This is very, very, very hard. And even though he's here for a reason, it's still hard.
The way I look at trolls and online trolls is they don't pay us rent money, so we shouldn't let them live in our heads rent free.
Yes. That's right. I
So,
agree. And that's for us, and we can control that, right? That's
yeah.
our choice. I can let this person make me feel bad. No one can make me feel bad. It's just whatever I allow. So I just don't allow that. I'm glad you don't either, Dave, because you have a message. You're sharing a lot of messages here on your podcast. It's you're going to do great things. I see it. I can see it. As soon as I went through some of your stories yesterday, I was like, you got it. Are you familiar with the Quiet Riot show?
Quiet Riot Show?
Yeah, it's on they're on TikTok and Instagram. It's called the Quiet Riot Show.
No, I'm very familiar with the metal band though, but I've never heard of that show.
Okay. Yeah, check these young men out. They're from Canada, actually.
Okay.
I think they're from the west part.
Yeah, that's where I
Uh,
am. I'm in the mountains.
oh, are you? So are you east of Banff or west?
I'm east. I'm closer to Montana border down that way, like right in the Rockies there. So
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. Um, all right. I think they're up around in that area, or like in that whole western area as well somewhere. They're called the Quiet Riot Show, and they're about men's mental health as well. They're not have as many followers as you, but they're working on it, and I love that. I love to see men, and that's why I loved your show, and that's why I loved your podcast, and why we wanted to be on it, because like I said, you're going to do great things. You really, really are. I think that especially for men, they have just been so held down by, you have to be tough. you have to shoulder it all. You have to be the rock for your family. You can't show any emotion. You got to be, strong for everybody. And that is no. And you're helping with that, Dave. I'm feel privileged to be on your podcast with all these other people that have done these amazing things. But I think everybody does amazing things in different ways. So,
Well, you know what? Having Will on here and just seeing him reactions in the background, just I can see the way he's looking at you with adoration. You can't, I don't know if you can see it, but every now and then he looks at you just with this adoration in his eyes, and you can see you feel this has brought you closer together.
Will, you think this has brought us closer together?
Yeah.
You do? Don't you think we were always close?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it has helped. I mean, Will and I have always have had a really tight bond. I tell Will, and I've said before, Will and I are bonded by trauma from my first marriage. We both had taken some abuse. And so we're bonded by that for sure. And just like of course he's my son and I'm bonded in that area, but we're bonded by that trauma. And I think that this has really given us a chance to work through things. Like I said, this is a double-edged sword, but in reality, like when Will was out and he was just running, we didn't get to have this relationship. We didn't get to talk about these things. And now, we do. So yeah, I don't think it's brought us closer, but I think it has helped evolve our relationship in different ways.
Perfect. Well, I got the wheelchair thing happening today. Then what's next down the road for you guys?
I think, once we get him settled into a comfortable chair that he can be in for more than a couple hours, that's always was a problem here is the chairs the nursing home provided, which we're so grateful for that we've had them. He's not been able to sit for more than a couple hours. So once we get him, and he's very heavy to push. So like when I come today, like I'm here by myself, I can't take him outside today because I can't push him by myself very far. So this wheelchair is going to be motorized from the back as well. So we'll be able to push him. We're in a town where they have a lot of like summer activities, festivities. So we'll be able to get him out more. And I think the next thing is I'm going to be working on is maybe a handicap accessible vehicle so that we can really get him out. Like when we come to visit, it won't just be pushing him around the parking lot or around the side streets around here. We'll be able to put him in a vehicle and take him to the beach, take him, to the next town over. So I think that's where we're going to go next. But right now it's just concentrating on getting the chair because I think that's going to open up a lot for him.
Perfect.
Just to be able to sit in that without being in pain. And give him some independence too if he can use the joystick and control it. We'll get him out in the parking lot and just let him feel like he's a little free, He's working on a lot of his own mental health too. And I think me working on my mental health and sharing with him about triggers and different things, I see that I'm kind of like rubbing off on him and he's starting to recognize triggers. And like I said, recognize today about this relationship he had with this nurse here. I mean, that's profound for him to recognize that he creates negative things in his head. So lots of good things are coming for us, and especially for Will with this wheelchair. It's going to change a lot. And to be able to get him home as well. He hasn't been able to be home for holidays for 9 years. So that's something he's really just trying to say, yep, you can put a smile on his face, but I know he's very emotional today. I can see it in his face. A little bit? No? No? Okay.
Actually, I just want to be able to go home for Christmas and stuff like that.
He wants to be able to go home for Christmas.
Yeah, because Christmas for me has always been some special holiday in my life.
Yeah, Christmas has always been a special holiday for him. And, every holiday he's here. We bring him over food. We spend time with him. Sometimes we can't come on that day, and that's hard. We have the other kids at home. So that is going to be our biggest goal this year, get him home for Thanksgiving dinner. And this GoFundMe is going to help with that as well. Like I said, we did ask for a little extra because I put in there tools what was my word here? Supportive things for his, like getting him water. He can't get water on his own. So we're looking into this camel, um, not camel, I'm sorry. I got him a camelback at one time, but that didn't work. Some giraffe cup. So we just want to get some different things for his room that will make his life a little easier, get him transported home. We don't have a handicap accessible vehicle, so I think that that would be, it'll be a little extra to get people to transport him on holidays. So that's our goal. We're getting there. We're gonna do it. I'll put this video up on TikTok probably tomorrow of what we do today with the demo.
Okay, and then I can add it into the episode if you want.
Okay,
I'll link it in
great.
there, and we'll put your TikTok and your
Sure.
GoFundMe in the description, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave.
For sure. I appreciate you guys coming on with me and sharing your story. Um, if anyone out there wants to contact Will through Gina or send a message, just fire up on her TikTok.
Yep.
And,
No,
Absolutely. Hello.
the nurse. I just have his smoke in here.
Okay, can you give us 5?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that, Dave.
hey, that's okay. I can edit that stuff out. But
Okay.
yeah, so anyone watching this, click the links in the description. If you got a little extra, send them their GoFundMe. And you want to follow Will's updates, give Gina a follow on TikTok. That description will be there as well.
All right, definitely. Yeah, reach out, send me a private message. I'm happy to be in connection with anybody. Encourage, we're here to encourage, to tell our story, to share our story, and just to help others. I think that's the purpose of life for me is, let's build each other up.
Perfect. Well, thanks
So
again for coming on with me. You have a great day, and we're looking forward to seeing your updates on there.
thank you, Dave. I'll be in touch.
All right. See you later, Will.
They do.